As we breathe in and go into the more contemplative part of our service, giving thanks to God for this moment, I'd like to ask Audrey to come forward to sing a very special song. Brother Jeffrey, will you come up and do the scripture for this?
This is from Psalm 139, 4 through 14. Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely. You hem me in behind and before, and you lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me, too lofty for me to attain. Where can I go from your spirit? Where can I flee from your presence? If I go up to the heavens, you are there. If I make my bed in the depths, you are there. If I rise on the wings of the dawn, if I settle on the far side of the sea, even there your hand will guide me. Your right hand will hold me fast. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me and the light become night around me, Even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And so it is.
I am so honored to be here to speak with you a little while, and so grateful for the support. And you may want to know, what is it about rainbows and spirits and rainbows in the storm? And my dear friend Barbara asked me on a Sunday, she said, "You're going to tell a story about one of your recent challenges?" And I said, "Yes, because that is a rainbow in the storm." You know, I want to share this with you from the founder of our faith, Ernest Holmes. And it's from his book, page 82, Discover a Richer Life. And Ernest says, life is just not something to be endured. Did you all hear me? Life is just not something to be endured. It is to be lived in joy and a fullness without limit. And from Romans 12:2, it says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And in New Thought, we say, change your thinking what?
Change your life.
Change your thinking what?
Change your life.
Well, we're going to have some changes here, because I'm getting ready to talk about the book of Daniel for a minute here. Because the book of Daniel 3 tickles me, because it took me 50 years to understand what it meant, been through the fire and came out cold. You see, King Nebuchadnezzar went to Jerusalem, and I'm going to give you the JioDucci Cliff Note version. And King Nebuchadnezzar had this thing where he was going to bring back folks and make them work for him and all this other stuff. So he got Daniel and 4 of his friends. Didn't like their names, he changed their names. So there was Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. And they were pretty bright young boys. So the king thought, well, I got me something special up in here. But what he didn't realize was he may have captured them, but their minds were not enslaved. You all hear me tonight? Their minds were not enslaved. See, we sometimes do self-imposed slavery in our minds. But let me tell you how powerful spirit is. King Nebuchadnezzar had these golden statues, and he wanted folks to worship them. And Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego said, it ain't happening. It ain't no thing, fuck, we ain't doing that. Because, see, we have a God that we know that can. And our God is not into this gold statue thing. So when the herald blows the trumpet, again, I'm paraphrasing, we ain't going to rock to that. We ain't going to bow to that, because we pray to the God that we know. So anybody that didn't follow the rules of the king, there was a price to pay. So old King Nebuchadnezzar decided, we're going to put them in the furnace. Let me see how powerful your God is. So he bounded them, put them in the fiery furnace, had his guys do this. His soldiers said, turn it up. Turn it up. You know, make it 7 times hotter than it is. So they bound them and put them in there. Mind you, they're all tied up. The king was curious because he didn't hear any screaming and hollering going on. He didn't even hear them singing, it's getting hot in here. Let's take off everything. So what happened was he peered around. He looked. He said, wait now. There are 4 people in it, they're walking around. We can't. Where'd the other one come from? Well, again, spirit is powerful. Because those boys were unbound, unscathed in the fiery furnace. Because they were protected by Spirit, by God. That's the rainbow in the storm for Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were protected. So the king was so amazed, and he said, well, that God must be something else. Let them boys out. Let them pray to whoever they want to, because I can't handle this. They were protected. We are all protected because our living God dwells in us each and every day, not sometimes, not half the time, but all the time. We must realize, embrace, and believe beyond a shadow of a doubt. God is, God lives, God in, as, and through us. But oh yes, Spirit can only do for us what we allow Spirit to do through us. Y'all hear me tonight? Y'all hear me tonight? I'm trying not to let the Baptists come out a little bit, but I gotta say something. See, when Spirit gave me the title, Rainbow in the Storm, I was sitting at work. I said, Spirit, something's wrong because there's no rainbow in the storm. Spirit called me by my given name and said, Jeannie, you're wrong. Write that down. I wrote it down. I got upset. I said, there's no rainbow in the storm. Spirit, I'm going through my 2nd round of cancer. I just finished cancer 5 years ago. I thought I was done. He says, no, there's some other lessons to learn. Some other things I'm going to take you through and some other lives that I need you to touch. I said, no, I don't want to do this. So I had attitude. I was mad again. But this little blue-eyed pastor we have called Reverend Linda, she will not allow you to be mad too long. She didn't even ask me if I wanted her to come to the hospital with me. She said, what time am I supposed to be there? How forward? How grateful was I? How grateful for I said, Rabbi, I don't want this cancer thing again. Just don't claim it. So I went on about my business when they did the biopsy, and I was so afraid to call folks. I called my cousin back there, I see her, and I called the family, and I told them, well, that's some good news and some not so good news. The doctor tells me I have cancer, and it's the good kind. She actually looked at me and told me that. I said, and my doctor's about this big. And she said, you must understand, you have large, dense breasts. I said, I didn't know that. She said, and you have the good kind of cancer. It's estrogen driven and we caught it early. Stage 1. She had just examined me a month ago. No signs. But the rainbow in the storm is every year my little sister Jan, you all know her, my cousin Rita, we go to get examined. Our mammograms like it's a big party.
I went today.
Cool beans. Yeah. Yes. We make it a girls' day. We're 15 minutes apart, and then we go out to eat, and then we go to the movies. And now that our income's a little different, we visit one of the Mart brothers, the Kmart brother, the Steinmart brother, or the Walmart brother. But I went through this, and I was so angry because so many doctors, and I said, I'm working at a job that I'm overqualified for. But the slogan of the company I work for has this thing called Rethink Possible. And it never had a spiritual meaning for me until I looked at it shortly after I was diagnosed and mad, and I said, I'm rethinking possible. I'm here. I'm still standing. My rainbow in the storm are all the folks that prayed for me, all the folks that knocked on the door and said, what do you need? All the folks who knew that we had a special program planned here back in June and said, JJ, what do you need? I'm sick again. I'll come and get it and take it to the post office for you. What do you need? You know, I said, well, you know I can't eat bread, but I do like cornbread. Miss Corrine, you want to make me a pan?
Said, yes, I will. And she didn't even ask if she could be there. That's my neighbor. If she could be there with my family, she said, when you wake up, I will be there with your family. Rainbows in the storm are all the time. But the power of affirmative prayer and the power to see that rainbow and to embrace that rainbow and to love that rainbow through the challenge is an acquired skill for some of us. Because some of us, it's all, woe is me. And you hear these things like, it's only darkest, it's always darkest before the dawn. And you hear other people saying, Lord, child, have mercy. If there was not for bad luck, you wouldn't have luck at all. Those are the people that look better going away from you than coming towards you. Those are the people that it is a blessing to give them the gift of goodbye and love them from a distance, because you know God is within you and God is taking care of you, and there is power in that journey in the storm if you embrace the rainbow. Embrace the rainbow, because it's all good, because it's what? It's all God. I'm doing well. I got a clean bill of health recently, and I'm feeling just fine. Lost a little weight, losing more, I'm feeling fine.
Looking good?
Thank you very much.
You go, JJ.
So I give thanks for my crack sisters who called and said, what do you need? For everybody here, what do you need? And all the folks that prayed. It's about the love. For the people who didn't even ask me how I felt, because I didn't want them to, and I was grateful that they didn't, because you don't feel good going through radiation. You get cooked. You're getting cooked. How do you feel? Still standing. But something else happened to me. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the power of prayer and affirmative prayer. Because I just want to share the story to bring things full circle. And then I'm going to ask you to share your rainbow in the story. As you guys, some of you know me, I invest in real estate. And I decided to buy a house, rent it out to somebody I love very dearly, against what Jeannie said I should do. She went along with it because it was in my heart to do it. Long story short, the house was destroyed. Going in the house to figure out where we were going to start to clean up this house was hard. I was in prac class then. And we had prac class 1-2 days a week, and we exchanged stories, and I'm hurt. I said, it's a fact. How many? You ought to see this house. Well, many of you know Gloria, so she went to the house with me. And she said, JJ, it ain't that bad. I said, what eyes are you looking with? Do you see this? She said, think about it. It could be worse. I didn't want to think about that. All I kept thinking about was the money to get it ready, the income I was losing, and I had put my faith somewhere else, not seeing God as my source at that time. See what I'm saying? Because we're human. We're human. So what happened was, Jeannie was so upset, she started crying. I said, you don't have to come back until it's finished. She said, JJ, there are flying things in the refrigerator I've never seen before. I said, Dodge. Because I've never seen them before either. So we had to deal with that. And I sat down one day and I talked to one of my fellow practitioners, Julie, and we were still in training. And she said, let me write a treatment for that. I said, I couldn't get people to come help me paint. I thought I could get that whole house painted in a day. Had a paint party, had pizza. I had a handful of people show up. It was painful. So my sister-in-law showed up with my nieces. And you know young people. My one niece took the brush and did. I'm tired. I'm so tired, I don't know what to do. She said, Auntie, I'm through with this. Then my other one said, I don't like to get dirty. I just got my your nails done, you know what I'm saying, Auntie, and I love you and everything. So my sister called her brother. My sister-in-law called her brother, who I had known from a distance, but our paths went in different ways. And I looked back over the treatment that Julie wrote, that affirmative prayer that said, I know, Spirit, that you're going to send somebody to see JJ and Jeannie through this. I know it. I know they're going to stick with her and the house is going to be rented and the income loss will be restored. I keep everything. I pulled up that treatment today and got tickled. She wrote it on June 12th, 2011. The next month, again, when we were trying to paint, my sister said, I'm going to call my brother. I said, yeah, right, he's coming. She called him that Saturday before Father's Day. He came all the way from the west side of town, and I know Myron was speeding because there's no way you can get from the west side of town to Madisonville in 15 minutes. But see, that's Spirit working because our pastor drives like that, Spirit. So he got there and he looked at me and he said, hi, sister. And I looked at him. I said, he's changed. He's been reborn and renewed. I didn't know. He said, you need some help. This house is a mess. The worst thing for someone to do is to tell you what you already know. But I did not know that he was my rainbow in the storm, because he said, I will be here at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. I said, I have to be at the center at 10:15 for service. He said, you go to the center, but let me in at 6. Well, Myron runs on Myron's time. 6 a.m. for him is 5:30 a.m. So you always have to add in a half hour. For some of us, you have to go up a half hour. For him, 6 o'clock, 5:30. He's sitting out in the car listening to music and spiritual and something else, you know, Wayne Dwyer, anything, wanting to know, where are you? So he calls me and I said, I can't come until I pick out my wig for the day and my makeup. But long story short, he came Father's Day, left that house ready to rent from top to bottom, painted, new floors and everything. Had it ready in August. When he said it was going to be ready, actually it was ready the day before. And he said, sister, God sent me to you. He knew nothing about the affirmative prayer. He knew nothing about it. All he said when he saw me is, God sent me to you. And every time I saw somebody, I would tell him, you ought to see my brother-in-law work. You ought to see how he works. He said, don't give away your blessing. I'm your blessing right now. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to leave you with is embrace the rainbow when it comes in the storm. Be willing to look at the situation and believe and know that there's a reason for it. And if you embrace the rainbow and just step back a little bit and just say, Spirit, show me. I don't know it all. You know, sometimes you have to take two steps back to go forward. Sometimes you have to go sideways. Sometimes people are removed away from you for a little while for something else good to come your way. You all hear me tonight? Yeah. So it is all right to be angry for a moment. But as the old spiritual says, weeping may endure for a night, but joy will come in the morning. I challenge you to believe that during that rain, during that storm, that rainbow is there if you see it. If you embrace it. If you love up on yourself and know that God is, God will. It's all good because it's all God. Thank you very much.